Good afternoon, guys. My name is Jason Weisman. I'm the area developer for Focal Point Business Coaching for the state of Wisconsin. Focal Point has been around since the year 2000. We are a business coaching franchise. Sometimes those words don't sound synonymous. Business and coaching, kind of like apples and chairs, but we work with small to mid-sized businesses to make them more profitable, give the business owners more time with their family, work on exit strategies as appropriate, and build their team. So as the area developer, I have a dual role. I coach about 5 clients around the area. Northwestern Mutual, I actually coach one of the managing partners of the Delafield office. So I do executive coaching and I also work with a landscaper and a dentist. So really across the spectrum on what kind of size of business we work with. Go ahead, Barry. So what separates Focal Point from a person that puts out their shingle and says, I'm a coach, a wellness coach, a life coach, executive coach? Bottom line, it's a guy named Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy has been doing this he's got 88 books. He's 75 years old. He's a Zig Ziglar kind of guy, one of the old school original gurus. In the year 2000, he decided that he wanted to be able to help small businesses that can't afford to pay him $100,000 for a seminar fee. So we formed Focal Point and we franchised it from there. There's many different, I'm going to surmise all this. There's many different revenue streams in Focal Point. We do one-on-one coaching on a weekly basis. I meet with my clients and we go over, any problems they have. But we coach with an iPad app. It's proprietary to Focal Point. It's 72 modules and it walks them through step by step with you as the coach on how to improve their business. So we're not going into a company and saying, what do you think your problem is? And they say sales suck. And say, okay, well we have world-class Brian Tracy sales training, but if we fix it, is your supply chain going to be able to keep up with it? So we analyze from soup to nuts the entire business. We have world-class tools and solutions, and I can show you all that stuff later. Go ahead. So we really work with across the board business. I work with, my first client was my dentist. And then she's already gone from 3 days to 4 days, and she could do a 5th day if she wanted. I work with a pool company that was actually the pool that worked on my spa. I called them up one day and said, your customer service absolutely sucks in the Unity Business Coach, and I've been working with them. So, as the business owner, you are the business. Just like Speed Pro, it's not absentee, you are the business. You have to be comfortable prospecting, you have to be comfortable talking in front of groups, networking, meeting people, but you control, obviously you control your destiny with this organization. We really work with senior decision makers in companies. We work with realtors, doctors, professional services are great. Dentists, chiropractors, small doctors, because they're awesome at their jobs, they're competitive, they're great doctors and dentists, but they suck at business. So they really need the help, and you can really do some improvement. Fire away. Here's some of the skills that we work with, and again, this is a 72 module app that focuses on what business am I in, what business should I be in, who's my most important customer, who's my most important competition, where's my supply chain, all the way down to how do I be an effective leader, how do I delegate, how do I market, and then we have a whole module on sales. So we really do run through the entire organization, which separates us from a lot of coaching businesses because we have engagements that run for 2, 5, 8 years. I've had a client since I started, 1.5 years, and we have people that have had clients for 8 years, and that's great for obviously for your residual income. Fire away. Multiple streams, so it's not just one-on-one coaching. We have group coaching. I do $500 a head per month, a group of 20 people that I do over a webinar. So we have that opportunity. We do DISC assessments, behavioral assessments. We do executive coaching. We do workshops. So there's many different ways to skin a cat. If you're not comfortable, with the one-on-one, if you're not comfortable with the group, there's 8 other ways you can make money in this business. So what are we looking for? We're looking for people that have had a modicum of success in their career. I'll tell you about mine in a minute. We look for people that are comfortable talking in front of people. At the end of the day, what your resume does is really getting you in front of people. It's getting you that first meeting. When they look you up on LinkedIn, they're going to say, okay, Jason, he was an executive at Kohl's, so he knows what he's talking about. But the Brian Tracy material and the training that we give you, if If you follow the process, you follow the step-by-step process that we train you on, you'll be successful. Initial investment, $59,950. The great thing about that is that's pretty much it. $60,000. We don't have any overhead. We don't have any equipment. You can get an office if you want, but I don't have one. I like to work out of my, I actually work out of my car. But you can hire up to 3 associates, so you can expand the business as you grow. So you bring on 20 clients, and that's, you only want to do 10. You give 10 to somebody else. You guys, that's a scalable business that you can grow really quickly. The royalties are fixed. It's not a percentage of revenue. Those are $1,800 a month after your first year. We ramp them up in the first year to $1,800 a month, and that's it. You really don't have any other expenses. So again, you have a lot of cost certainty with this business. What kind of training do you get? I always tell people, sometimes I wish they'd leave you alone in the first few months and let you actually do the job. 250 hours of training in the first year. You have a week-long class in San Diego. Very, very in-depth, immersive role-playing with coaching and prospecting. You have what's called the Strong Start group. You meet weekly over a webinar, and everybody leaves that first Strong Start group in 10 weeks with a client, a paid client. So we're getting you ramped up and cash positive really quickly. There's weekly one-on-one calls with you. Get your own coach, and I can tell you this, when I joined Focal Point, I was the first coach in the state, and I bought the area because to be the trainer and the regional developer, because I want to hire people and work with people that I like to work with. I don't want somebody else picking it for me. And that's the great part about having a local developer in your area. I mentor my coaches that I brought on directly, and that's part of my role with Focal Point, beyond coaching as well. Next. That's me. Quick history of my world. I'm from Iowa, moved to Chicago, worked for Arthur Andersen, PricewaterhouseCoopers, huge consulting firms. Got transferred to Tampa. When I was living in Tampa, I lived next door to the executive vice president of Kaplan Higher Education. She asked me if I wanted to start a college from scratch in Omaha, Nebraska. So I went to Omaha and started Hamilton College in Council Bluffs, Iowa. It's across the river from Omaha. Walked in the first day, there was no computers, no desks, no tables, no employees, no nothing. Built that to be the fastest startup in the history of that company. Did that for a couple years, and my wife wanted to get back closer to Chicago. I didn't want to be in Chicago because I didn't want to be where the mother-in-law was. Milwaukee, is about 90 miles, so that's a good mix. And so I worked for Kohl's in the last 9 years. I worked for Kohl's, worked for the chief administrative officer, did all the local development of all the buildings around that you see. So all the Kohl's buildings that you've seen, I probably leased and purchased and developed. One day, my 9th year anniversary, I'll wrap it up with this. I just said, I'm 44, been working exactly in the corporate world for 22 years, and it's time to do something different. I didn't want to give or receive another performance review ever again, and that's why I'm here. And again, any questions you guys have, I got a ton of materials. You can see the Brian Tracy training stuff. You can see the Focal Point app. So I'll look forward to having a beer with you after. Thanks, guys.